Sona Obsessian, welcome back to Inside Conan.
Thank
you guys so much. And I
Your
feel
20th appearance.
I know, I'm really late and I'm
sorry. Perfect. Joel, hello.
Hey, I know you.
True to Seattle.
That's right. Go see.
Oh my God, I haven't seen you in
I've known
decades.
Jesse since.
I was this high.
Let's explain what's happening right here. I'm going to narrate.
Oh, God.
Because I'm a professional. Squeeze over here, Joel, for just a second.
Here,
You can
go
take
in my
mic.
spot.
No. You guys
Yeah, Sona, you stay.
Sona.
Yeah, we have a chair. Sona, please don't.
Okay.
We also have a mic.
Sona,
And
let them
so,
forage for
This is the
themselves.
podcast where Conan interrupts other podcasts.
Right.
Yes, I heard there was a podcast about myself.
Right.
And I wanted to come and here and interject about me. I'm having a wonderful salmon curry bowl.
Yes.
Oh.
At a
And then
place.
Andy Richter.
No. You have that disease where you think you're Andy Richter.
I'm Andy Richter.
This gentleman, this Joel McHale, comes stumbling by.
Oh my God.
And I say, you've got to come right now and let me show you our cool hangout space. What do you think of the new
Clubhouse.
digs?
Yeah.
They're fun.
Put the cans on.
Would you?
No, it's fun.
Wait a minute. You put... Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You went to the trouble to put on a headset and cans just to say, it's fun.
Just wanted to make sure the velvety fog was coming through my voice. And it sounds like it is. You can turn it even.
There we go.
Turn it down even more.
Turn the bass up.
This is a beautiful building. And
gorgeous.
I'm
And-
very jealous of all your success.
You should be.
It's really nice. I don't know. I mean, it's really like one of the nicer buildings on Larchmont, and
It
this
really
is a
is.
shithole of a neighborhood.
Yeah. You know what? This
As we all
building's
know.
in foreclosure, so we're glad you got in.
What is this? What is this a front
I
for?
brought you
We
in
need you to
'cause
write a check.
I brought you in because I want you to bid on it. We made a terrible mistake.
That's.
It comes with a gazebo.
Yeah.
It's very. It's so clean. It's well made. It's like a Scientology hangout. That's weird.
That we don't
funny
get
you
into that.
mention that.
That's in the second half hour.
They're the
We talk
4
about that.
p.m.
Yeah.
look-see.
It's
after
too
you.
nice. I've decided. I
No,
just
no,
turned.
it's beautiful.
It's
Beautiful.
everyone seems to like each other, which also suspect.
It's because you're here.
That'll tip you
Everyone's behaving.
Yeah.
As soon as I walk out,
Second
then-
you leave,
Yeah.
It's.
chairs go through the window.
I mean, you've been working with Sweeney since the
Oh,
'60s.
please, why would you upset him like this?
I mean, how it's so great
so
that you
funny.
guys
Why
get
would you-
along so well.
Well, Mike Sweeney,
so
I
long.
met him. We had a radio program that we did with Jack Benny.
Well, there was no television at that point.
There was no TV.
And here you are,
But then
full
when
circle.
TV was invented, we decided to make the most of it. This is great, Jesse. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
And I was so happy to run into you
It
on the
was
street.
yeah, you came bounding up to me like a puppy.
I did.
It was
Oh.
great.
Did I-
Yeah.
was that-
And then I gave you a treat.
You did give me a treat. And I,
Jesse,
and I
uh,
slobbered, as I tend to.
I don't know if you know this. She got her start at a little show on E called Dr. 90210.
no, but
Botched abortion stuff.
Yeah.
It was
did you know they started out together?
Wait.
Botched abortion show?
on E? It sounds like something they would
Jeez.
do.
What?
What's,
as
how
dark
did you
as I
guys know each
remember.
other? How do you guys
That's-
work together?
I
That's
worked
the
on the
learning
soup
channel.
that Joel gave me kind of my first job in Hollywood.
I didn't, but
Yeah, well,
If it were up
your
to
people
me.
did.
yeah, she was, and she
You
was.
tried to stop it. You tried to stop.
I was
Jesse
like,
from being hung.
there's a lot of aborted fetus jokes in this packet. Can we maybe dial it back to 3? She was so funny that she smartly got out. She was
So you
like,
worked
was
with
there for
Joel,
a while.
and then you came to work for us.
That's right. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And
I mean, literally, this was 2007.
yeah.
Oh, you were there a while.
I was there. I left, and there was a spin-off of the soup called The Dish that was for girls. It was
Right,
the soup.
because the soup was only
That
for
was-
men.
Well, all
Our,
of these.
our demo was women in their 40s. Literally,
This
it
was for women in their 30s.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How did The Dish do? I don't know that show.
The Dish, well, it was hosted by Daniel Fishel, who was Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Yes. I remember that
We've
show.
got millennials in the house.
I watched
Yeah.
that.
That's
It
like when
was
you say
for women.
LeVar Burton,
Oh.
and they're like, reading Rainbow,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, Geordie LaForge. God. And then someone goes like, Kunta Kinte?
Poor Mike Sweeney is waiting for someone to mention red buttons.
Please.
Anyone red buttons?
I'm amazed that Sweeney went with the Henley today. You never see him in a long sleeve 3-button shirt.
I'll show you some looks.
Okay, whoa.
No, that's okay. We're good. I've seen you. Sweeney and I have been all around the world together, as I have with Jesse on the Conan Without Borders episodes. We've been everywhere.
Have you
And-
been to...
Not everywhere. I
Yeah.
Not
Right.
Seattle, though.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really...
You and I have hung out in Seattle.
Yeah, we totally have. That's where we met, on the back. The
Really?
last 2 rows of... Well, I had met you on the...
This is a lie coming.
This
No,
is
this is
not
true.
a fucking lie.
Go ahead.
All right.
True
We
story.
were on Peter Thiel's jet. And we were on
You're
our
not
way.
on the logs, though.
Now I believe you.
We were in
well,
the cargo hold.
You were well. You were. I had appeared. This was on the 12:30 show a couple times.
Yeah.
And then
I knew you from being on the show. Then my
then it
wife,
was-
I married into Seattle,
yes,
and
literally.
yeah, my wife Liza's from Seattle, and so we were up. We were up in Seattle.
I think we were
for Thanksgiving, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. You were in the we were getting. I was like, oh hi, and I was very golden retriever like with you at the gate, and then you were the last row of the Alaska, and we were the second to last.
Yes, it was an Alaska Airlines flight. You guys were the very last row, you and Sarah.
Yeah.
Liza and I were the second to last row. I think we were also wrestling kids
Yep.
into various...
Not
That's
ours.
why they put you in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. They knew what they were doing.
Well, people
but I
kept
just
walking to the bathroom, and they would be waiting, and then they would see Conan, and then you could see them question themselves and be like,
It was funny
this is not
because
how it's
I
all
love
supposed to
any
line up.
snapshot. There's this misconception that celebrities are jetting around the world in luxury.
Right,
And I'm
right.
here to
That's
tell
right.
you that Joel McHale and I are we are holding down the last row of an Alaska
Well,
Airlines flight.
Air Alaska's first class is in the back.
That's
the
true.
seat doesn't go back,
Yeah.
and you can smell the disinfectants coming out of the
Yeah,
bathroom.
that's an
that
extra
really
plus.
that's now going back 12 years ago.
I think it was.
That muscle just held. Yeah, that's how old I am.
When
and
you
then I
guys
remember
were in your late 20s.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So
Very
sweet.
nice. Wow. No wonder they
Promoted.
hired you at the
Promoter.
dish.
Promoter. Demoted. Promoted.
Thank you.
I love because I knew that you guys were friends, and it felt like somehow I had done it, even though I had nothing to do with it, and wasn't.
I thought you
a
tried
part
to
of it
drive
at
a wedge
all.
between us at some point because Conan would say stuff like, Jesse said a couple things about you, and then you tested the waters with what that was,
Yeah.
which was you just, you sometimes touch people too long, like the long hug.
I think he might have
He
been
said that, and I was like, I
testing
don't
the waters
feel like
to
that's
see if
me.
he could do that.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just trying to find out what's acceptable.
I want to know who that guy is.
Oh, that's Sean.
Can you see him too? Is he
No,
there? He didn't
he's not
die in
there.
this building, did he?
You know what's so funny? Sean is crouching in the corner like
Yes.
there's been a drug raid and he's hoping no one notices him.
Yeah.
And there's no camera that
Sean's
picks
the
him up
narc.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of has a.
This is nice. This is the last thing you thought was happening because were you headed to your dentist or were you just running
Oh,
errands?
I was supposed to pick up Sarah at the airport like 25 minutes ago. Not
She's in the last row. Where is
It's
he?
Burbank. It's fine. She's fine.
yeah, she's
They have that Guy
Burbank.
Fieri,
Yes,
the
the
Guy
Guy
Fieri
Fieri
restaurant.
restaurant
where you can get almost anything.
Chili, yeah.
Put in a Burbank Airport is the best airport.
It is the greatest
It is.
And
airport.
a good secret airport. People don't really.
It
know.
A
really
lot of Alaska
It
Airlines
was a
flights.
secret airport.
Now, once they hear this podcast,
Don't go. There's
it's still
a
a
gas
secret.
leak.
I feel like we should turn this podcast back over to Sona.
To the guy in the corner.
What the fuck were they talking about?
It's a little show because we're called Inside Conan, where they explore
Oh.
behind the scenes.
This is all right. Let's me to it right now.
It's the
Wait,
dirty secrets.
We're building.
Are
the
you sure?
slow
Because
legal
Sona was
case.
preparing for this show with guacamole, and I think there was another kind of soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
What did
That's
you?
how
Yeah, I was
prep.
eating with Sona when
I
you
prep
walked up,
for all my
and then this all happened.
podcast appearances. I take them very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was what you just experienced now was a happening.
Yes.
This regular podcast was happening when suddenly Conan O'Brien, Joel McHale come smashing through the
Wow.
door.
Anything can happen here.
And anything will happen.
Yes, the
What-
guy.
Oh, remember the time you and I were having dinner together, and
that was
and we
good.
End up.
We looked at that nightclub that you were looking at a building on La Brea.
Yeah, I wanted to buy a nightclub. I
Well,
wanted
it
to buy
had
a
been a
nightclub.
nightclub, but we went to La Republique.
Yeah, we went to La
that's a
Republique
great
just to grab a
restaurant.
bite,
Right.
Because we were looking for a space. Maybe
that was on
before
purpose?
we found this space.
La Republique.
You two went on purpose. It wasn't just.
It was
bumped
right
in.
after I did the show, and you were like, "Hey, we're gonna go look at the building. Do you want to come look?" And I was like, "Well, let's look at a building."
Yeah, so he looked at a building because it's before we found this space. We
Right.
were looking for a space where
You
we
were
could
there.
congregate.
I remember
and,
that place.
That place.
Before you say who we saw, but we saw somebody else there. Two different people that were like, "Oh, there's those people."
What are you talking about?
Well, at the same restaurant.
Yeah.
Because Allison Janney was there with Phil, Feed Phil.
Oh yeah.
Rosenthal.
So they were there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we talked to them.
And they were doing a podcast.
They were doing a podcast.
And then we were sitting.
And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw a gold prospector enter the restaurant. And I like
Someone with a beard.
a massive beard. And
massive.
there's David Letterman. And the next thing you know, we're sitting with him.
Yeah. He kept coming over going like, "Try the fish," and then he would hand the bread over, and Conan was like, "We have to go talk to him." Like,
Yeah. No, it have to. It was a huge treat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
huge
I think we're being invited over to, and we sat with them for 4 hours.
It was not 4 hours.
I feel
Dave will tell you it was not 4 hours. He would
was-
not tolerate 4 hours with
And
two
he'll-
idiots like us.
I remember.
He'll tell you in person because here he is.
This
Oh my God! And look who he's with. Red buttons.
He needs no introduction.
All right, we're gonna
but
go.
he said,
Yeah,
but I remember you guys were talking, and then he turned to me and goes, "Do you just make noises?" Because I was like, and then I
So
was
he's
like,
a fan.
Yeah, he was a big fan. I think he almost remembered who I was by the end.
I think that night you were also your wife's waiting at the airport for you. Like where? The hell
She's getting back
is
in.
Joel?
Yeah, she was doing a lot of piecework, and boy, she's exhausted. It's like a 24-hour
Well, I think.
flight. All right,
I think
Conan, it's great to see you dressed up for work. And
I'm wearing. You know, it's so hilarious. I did a workout this morning, and I'm wearing sweatpants and a T-shirt. But I thought it's a podcast, so I'm
Right.
dressed like an alcoholic at 4 p.m.
okay, so think about it. Your great grandfather wore like 9 different kinds of tweed, probably,
sure.
and had a stick.
Yep.
And walking through
Yes.
muck that his feet were wet, and he was probably herding sheep.
Dress
Yep.
shoes.
And fucking a couple of them.
Oh,
I'm sorry. No,
How did
he
you know
wasn't.
my grandfather?
Edit that out. So
That's how
your
he built the
great-grandfather.
family.
And then your grandfather, he got on a ship, right? Because like there was a potato famine. This is also half of
You've
my
done your
family. Which
reading.
is like so, and they go to Ellis Island. Like my grandfather's last name was Smidgebakken, and they were like, "What's your last name?" And he was Smidgebakken. Like, it's Jackson now. He's like, "Sounds great." And he migrated to Juneau, where they were killing the sheriffs if you were in the go. And then all of a sudden, like my dad, you come to your parents who were like, "Oh, they got a higher education. They became professors." And then you come up and cut to you in your building wearing leisure wear, top of the world.
Can I say, I want to congratulate you on joining the Army. I think this is incredible. I
This
didn't
is my
realize.
going to the dentist office.
Okay, so what? You have your excuse for your
No, I'm
dressed
just
like
saying
a G.I. Joe from the 50s.
I'm saying
and
how great is
You're
that?
saying your ancestors would be proud.
Or they would be like, how did this was? But no, I'm saying it's such a cool thing.
I usually dress.
Jess is dressed like
Yeah,
You have
you
good
to
style.
do.
You have good style.
Thank you. That sounds like
You're
you're
dressed
you're being recorded and you.
I do know I'm being recorded, and I respect you, and I think you're one of the.
No,
best
it
people I
doesnwill
know.
look like doll's clothing or anything like that. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying that if your grandkids was like, wait, you guys will be super like will have done well, and you're wearing what? That's such a
That's why they
It's so
sacrificed.
great. I'm saying it as a compliment. I know everything that comes out of my mouth sounds sarcastic, but I'm saying no. It's like a success.
Yeah.
No, it's a terrible insult to all of us. We're out. We're gonna go.
I know,
Because I
we're
want
out.
Sona. Sona is you get the
We're
headline
out of
here.
time.
Sona.
She's gonna
What?
drive back to
We're done.
Altadena tonight.
But wait a minute.
It's gonna
Maybe
take
this
6
is its own
hours.
separate
Our
segment.
thanks to Sona Movsesian.
This was great. Thank you so much for having me, you guys.